If you have turned on the news this week, you have probably seen everyone on the news celebrating this new housing law as if it is some massive win for everyday people. But if you actually open the 400-page bill and read the fine print buried inside Section 3, you will realize there's a massive loophole that could completely backfire on anyone trying to build, sell, or rent right now. Mainstream media isn't covering this right now, and that is why I am exposing 3 hidden traps written into this legislation. I'm going to tell you who is actually profiting behind closed doors and the exact move you need to make with your money before these changes hit. Let's start with the quiet detail that is hiding on page 42 that changes everything. Let's go.
Noelle. Yeah, she can fix that. You gotta get it done, or you need to do it better. Well, she can fix that. Yeah, she can fix that. Investment to get back, trying to get a big stack. She can fix that. Let's fix that.
Okay, I am here with my friend and partner in Golden Trinity Real Estate Group, John Raymond. How are you doing today?
Oh, we're doing great. It's a beautiful day.
I love that. I love that. Okay, so we know that they are being lied to. We know that there are 3 major things. So let's talk about this first thing, that whole large institutional investors are banned, and the big promotion that the media is out there saying, like, all these corporate investors, you don't have to fight against them anymore, and you're going to be able, little guy, average Joe, you're going to be able to go out there, and all those cash buyers that you had to compete against, all that's gone. Tell us the truth, John.
It's such a nice thought, but it doesn't actually translate into reality at all. What they've done is I know there's a big talking point about Trump hasn't signed it. Well, it passed anyway because he didn't sign it. He didn't veto it. He didn't pass it back. So it's law now. It's effective. 2 weeks ago. And it really lacks teeth of what maybe people are wanting as from a bill, but the institutional investors can still go out and they can buy houses. They can still go out and have at least 350 in a portfolio of houses without any kind of like repercussions whatsoever. 350 houses is a ton for one company to own. And I know we talked about a couple other things that it didn't do, and you can still build to rent. They can still buy rehabbed houses. It just limits them from buying move-in ready houses. So it doesn't really.
Let's even go back to that 350, because I made a video, it's going viral. I put a link to it here. People are so happy that I explained this bill. And the one thing I couldn't even say with a straight face was that the institutional investors are capped at 350 single family homes. And that even isn't true. Yeah, it's 350 homes, single family homes. And then they just say 1 unit and 2 units. They don't even say 3 units and 4 units, which we know in real estate, 1 to 4 units is considered a single family home. So it's still laughable that they can go buy triplexes and quads, and those don't count. Just single families and duplexes. What?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense, because anybody who's done an FHA loan or whatever, right? Like anything 1 to 4 is single family.
Right.
That's just how
they just changed the definition of single family homes so that they could still get more multifamily.
Right. Yeah, they can still go out the quad down the street and whatever, and it it doesn't matter.
That doesn't even count. That doesn't even count in the 350. Crazy.
So it's wild that this I think a lot of bills are passed with good intentions, but lack follow through, whatever. But
the thing about it is this bill has been being worked on for so long, and that's what I really went through in this video, is how long and how many decades and what has brought us here. And then because it had to be so bipartisan, and we're not going to get into politics, but we are so divided that to come up with something that both sides, who are highly polarized and just against each other, if they came up with this and voted on this together, it's like nothing. Because they don't agree on anything. So it's only, this is the things that we can agree on. Nothing.
Which is nothing.
Nothing. And then what's so laughable is this was supposed to be an affordability act. You know what I mean? Like, we have housing prices are crazy. We know that. This is why most people say, why we're even saying, if you have $1,000, invest in Golden Trinity Real Estate Group. That way you have access to real estate. You can learn about real estate. You can actually be an investor, because we know that $1,000 as a down payment, that's not getting you a house. You get what I mean? And the average home price in America right now is sitting at $437,000. That's the median
Yeah.
home
Yeah.
price.
That's nuts. And even with your FHA and new home buyer laws, right?
Program.
You still got to come up with 3% down, which is
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
more than $1,000 on just about anything. And so this bill just doesn't it doesn't do anything. And so that's why I think it's good that people get involved in Golden Trinity. Is we're technically considered an investor, but we can go out and buy 350 units, like no problem.
Exactly.
And it doesn't impact anything. Or multifamily, it's it doesn't touch multifamily. It's just single family units.
Right. So we still have the opportunity. Nothing really has changed. And this bill didn't make anything easier for the average person looking to buy their
No.
first home. It didn't add any like expansions really to programs. It's not like money now available and more grants for down payments or anything really even to lower home prices. Which brings us to number 2. Okay. Because this was the thing I think that may have put more inventory in, because I and again I explained that in this video that's going viral. I'll put it on the screen. You can watch that video after. One of the reasons why home prices are so high right now is because of lack of inventory. We have more demand than we have supply. We don't build enough homes, and for decades we have not been building enough homes to keep up with population growth, combined with how we have zoned our land where it should be mostly single family homes. And so what everyone wanted, we're going to talk about this because no one's talking about this. And I feel like this is incredible that the portfolios, these hedge funds, all right, these big corporate institutional investors that have swooped up and bought all these homes, they don't have to sell any of them. So there's not going to be any new inventory where BlackRock is getting rid of, and slowly selling their properties off, or Blackstone or this group or Berkshire Hathaway. They're going to sell off their properties. There was nothing.
They don't have to do any of it. They don't have to get rid of any of it. They get to keep everything that they've got, and there's no teeth to it. So if they have 1,000 houses, keep your 1,000 houses. Like
Right.
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I couldn't believe no divestiture. I think that's how they used the word. Like they had to de-invest. They call it divestiture. No
Right.
divestiture of portfolios. They do not have to sell. Not one forced selling. Not even any aggressive pushes to say, "Come on, sell some of these houses. Get some.
Right.
Let's get some of this inventory going." They're like, "No, keep them."
No. They don't have to get rid of anything, which, if that were in place, it would put more inventory on the market, and then that would suppress the housing prices a little bit. But there's nothing there that's making them do that. So there's not going to be, it's basically a big whoop about nothing, essentially,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah. And I just can't believe all of the hoopla that the media has made about these institutional buyers are out. No, they're not.
No.
No, they're not.
Definitely not.
Even if they're not out at all. Like 350 houses is definitely not out. Then carve out all of the exemptions. So now let's go to the big one, okay? Because the big thing that they were doing, yes, they were buying up foreclosures and snapping them up, and putting hedge funds could put all their money together, and they could be hedge funds. They could do what Golden Trinity is doing and buy distressed properties. And so average Joe can't even get distressed properties. We have more cash than average Joe. That still exists. Then you couple that with the fact that they were saying they were going to have to sell some of the houses. Okay, none of that. Okay, now let's go to the next thing. You've mentioned it. And I'm like, let's talk about that. They can still build houses that they won't sell to you.
Yep. If they do build to rent communities, that doesn't count.
None of that was banned. They talked we were talking about decades, like stopping them from building houses like D.R. Horton and these big builders, Lennar, and you can't just build a subdivision of houses and then only rent them out. You have to like sell it to somebody. No, they can still do that.
Nope, they can still build to rent. And I've seen several developments where that's what they're pivoting to. They're not building to sell anymore. They're building to
No.
rent. And that's been going on for years.
Right, because why would they give up the equity and appreciation of real estate? It's genius. And especially they've consolidated construction so much. That's one of the reasons we don't even really do a lot of new construction, because it's so consolidated to these major builders that a small builder getting in there, it is actually pretty difficult. And the margins are nowhere near what they could be, because the business is so consolidated, and there's these monopolies essentially with the major builders, D.R. Horton, Pulte, Lennar, they just dominate.
Yeah. Yeah, they absolutely do. And I've been in some construction projects, and the smaller builders, right? Like your build cost per square foot's like 140 to 160, somewhere in that ballpark. I went to a company and talked to them to get a quote on a job, and it was 110. And they're doing, $70 million a year in top line in construction. So you figure these institutional, like these massive ones, their build cost is probably sub 100. So their margins are massive on building these homes. And there's and instead of selling them now, they can just be like, well, we'll just rent them. So.
Right. And this bill did absolutely nothing to get more builders in there, nothing to get more women or minorities or different groups that don't build homes and can't get into the construction business. Nothing, nothing there for that. And the thing that they did put in there, okay, so this is funny to me. So talking about building and affordability, they tried to bring down they put in the bill that they will reduce local regulations for builders so that you can get permits easier, make it a little bit easier, for them to build. And no really specificity on how that's going to look in the world. I have no idea what that even means. Do you?
No. And what that means is you're going to have 50 different versions of how to build a house.
Yeah. Yeah.
And 50 different versions of pricing on permits and fees and things like that that you have with the city. And
and I'm going to take this step further. I think it's going to end up with even higher rents and higher property taxes, because let me tell you this secret, okay? And listen closely. They have these incentives, right? That governments can go, like say local municipalities, they can go and they can apply to the federal government for this money, right? To build, and they're going to build and they're going to do these things. Well, all they're going to do is raise property taxes. We know this. This is just going to lead to more them raising property taxes to get that money. And then they own the property and they pass those expenses right on to the tenant. So if you are a renter, you're going to be even worse situation. Rent. I think rents is going to have the unintended consequence that rents are going to go even higher.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you're probably right, because now there's more margin. There's more there that they can make off of it. They're going to need to cover more expenses in the front. I think the unintended consequences of government intervention is basically what we're going to see.
Usually there's always. And that is one of the arguments for smaller government, because there's always some unintended consequence. You try to help the poor, for example, you end up raising the taxes on the middle class, and then that drives more of them into poverty. Like there's always this, I'm helping this group. But to me, I don't even know when they said like the federal government is going to make regulations and then they can apply for this money. And I'm just like, I don't even see what the end play on how this was going to make homes more affordable.
No, none. It doesn't. It really doesn't. Like if you look at the bill and the lack of teeth, and they don't have to get rid of any properties, and they can still build the rent, but where does that leave the average home buyer?
Yes. And to me, those were the two big things that they would have had to address. The big institutional investors, making them get rid of their houses so that we could flood the market with more properties. We'd have more inventory. The supply and the demand thing would kind of regulate itself. And the build to rent, getting just rid of that altogether. And they're just like, oh, absolute. Oh, hey. It was big. And because isn't it, I forget, is it Pulte? Who is the head of and he's the son of or D.R. Horton. One of them, either Pulte or D.R. Horton. One of the major builders, their son is very big in pushing this. And so you knew he wasn't going to get rid of their core business. Like why would
Right.
Why
would they?
Let's have more competitors to my dad and business that we built. Like, stop it.
Yeah. It's interesting to see who's involved in government and how they push bills through, and when these special interest groups get involved, it's more about protecting them than it is about.
Yeah. And I even have to laugh. Like even Donald Trump, he's a real estate developer. He makes money off real estate. Noelle, Randall, I make money off real estate. John Raymond, we probably actually would not be the best equipped for affordability bills for housing, because that's how we make money. You get what I mean? So
yeah.
So it's kind of like they say putting the fox in front of the chicken coop or something like that. Like, oh, I'll guard this chicken coop for you. Like, yeah, probably
just go.
not the best, so that's why I work with literacy. I don't even pretend that I want to go, build Section 8 housing projects. I'm a real estate investor. I make a lot of money on real estate. That's not my mindset. So you
Yeah.
have to be transparent in that and know people's motive. And I just don't think this administration, with how they make money and the stuff that they do, that's going to be in their interest to make a great home housing affordability bill and flood the market with more inventory so that prices come down and it comes into balance with demand
Yeah.
and with salaries and incomes and living wages and all. That's just
It's
can't
wild.
see it.
It's wild. And if that, like you said, if 1 to 4 units doesn't count against the cap, then they're just going to start building those instead.
Correct.
Then
Correct.
why build
the
a
3
single
and the
family
4
or a
units. They said
duplex?
just 1 and 2 units count to the cap. The 3 and the 4 units don't count towards the cap. So just build those.
So you just
right.
start building triplexes and
Yeah.
quads, and
Exactly.
then you don't have to worry about it.
Exactly.
So you'll
Who
see
doesn't
less
love a quad
condos.
anyway? Who doesn't love a 4 unit? Especially, I've gotten a 4 unit on with a FHA loan that the seller was like defaulting on. And so the interest rate was like 3.25. Like you could do a FHA loan on a 4 unit. So those who do not have, your first time home and you've thought about like house hacking and buying a 2 unit, a 3 unit, or 4 unit with a FHA loan or a conventional loan with 3% down, do it. Definitely do it if you have that opportunity. Because they're so few and far between.
Yeah. They're you see them less and less. They used to be pretty
because
common
of zoning, right? And that's what I talked about in that video. Because of zoning, it is actually we have so much zoning for just single family homes or these luxury apartment buildings. That's like what it just dominates because of the tax revenue.
Yep. Density, tax revenue, the way that they can split the lots, the size of the lots. If you can get 0.18 acres instead of 0.25, you can get more into 1 acre. So then you're generating more revenue for the state, and you can also build more as a builder. So why wouldn't you split it into smaller?
The local inflation mandate, like the bill basically grants huge federal grants to cities that update their housing codes. And that sounds like a win for infrastructure, but buried in Section 12 is a requirement for local municipalities to reassess property valuations faster to qualify for those federal funds. So the translation is, if your city opts into this program to build new roads or parks, your local property taxes are getting reassessed on an accelerated timeline. And so for our current homeowners, that could easily mean an unexpected bump in your escrow payment next year. And for renters, like I said, they always pass property taxes hikes onto the renter. Your rent's going up.
Yeah. The person that buys the property is not going to sit and eat that cost. If it's raised and the properties go up faster, you're going to see acceleration on the amount of rent they charge you per year and the time windows, and you'll probably see less long-term leases as well.
Okay, so obviously building to rent, we already know they're not getting rid of that. Let's even talk about renovating, John, because even they don't even get any less competition there from investors.
Yeah, and now that this bill, basically it says that as long as the repairs are at least 15%, which that's not hard to do on a flip, then that doesn't fall into the protected guidelines either. So now what I will hallucinate to think is that they'll start to see them go more into like the fix and flip. They'll start finding more distressed properties and buying those up so that they can fix them and show like, hey, we paid more than 15% for these rehab costs, which is not hard to do. And so they can scoop those up too. So people that were trying to buy something to fix it and then live in it, the Burr method, things like that, now you've got competition there.
Yeah. In fact, I would say probably even more. I would say even more. I would say even more.
Yeah, even more than maybe what it is now, because now they're like, well, if we can't just buy new houses that are already fixed up, then we'll just go buy distressed properties, and we can compete on that level and buy them up.
Correct.
So I think you're going to see more and more of the distressed properties disappearing quicker because of this passing.
There you have it. It is time for you to get involved. I know you want to get involved. Go to invest.goldenTrinityGroup.com right now. Find out all about what we're doing and get involved so you can get your free stays and all the other perks that I discussed. The time is now and we are stronger together. I tell you all of this because I want to make sure that you have all of the knowledge, all of the tools, and all of the resources that you need to be successful. This is Noelle. To your success.
Let's fix that.